You have two plus years of experience in Java.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So then we'll start with core Java, and then we'll move ahead. Okay, as time permits.
Okay.
So Harsh, can you tell me what is the difference between abstract and interface after Java 8?
Okay. After Java 8, I think the major difference is we can store state in abstract classes while interface don't permit it. Um, that's the major difference I think after Java 8. And other than that, I don't see much differences in abstract class and interface.
So what do you
And
mean by
mm,
state versus state? I mean, can you give more?
yeah, yeah. Let's say if I want, like for example, I'll take one example. Let's say if we want to have uh, user class, let's say user class, we made it abstract,
Mhm.
and we stored common fields like name, number in that class, and made it abstract and extended it with, and a subclass extended it. Uh, the subclass is
Mm.
super users. I mean super user. So in that subclass, we may store the super user fields which are supposed to be super user fields, and the common fields will be stored in the user class.
Mhm.
So this is how we can maintain the common state in the abstract class, but interface don't allow us to declare instance variable. We can't do it in interface. This I see.
Oh, okay. But does can we have in interfaces after Java 8? Can we have
Hmm.
non-abstract methods?
Yeah, we can have those are default methods.
Hmm.
We can declare default methods in Java in interface after Java 8, where we can uh, define define the method what it does, and we can access it through the subclass instance variables. Default methods. It's the major reason behind the introduction of default method is to promote the backward compatibility and to not break the classes which extend the current interface as a part of updation.
Okay, okay. So do we have constructor in abstract class?
Yes, we do have constructor in abstract class.
So
uh,
what is the use of that?
yeah, we can use it to initialize the common variables which we store in the abstract class. We can use it to initialize
Okay.
it.
And what about in interface?
No, interface don't support constructors because it is purely meant to describe contract. So we don't have constructors in interface.
Okay, so let's suppose if you have the same type of data members in
Mm.
constructor. Let's say we have a constructor shape and again a abstract class shape. Okay, let's say
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
comparing. Abstract class shape has two variables.
Okay.
Let's say the shape has two variables like structure and width. And
Okay.
interface also has two variables, structure and width.
Mm.
Okay, and then you have abstract and non-abstract methods at both the end.
Okay.
So don't you think we'll need constructor to initialize interface data members?
No, because I think the fields which we declare in interface are static final fields. Those are compile time constants. We have to define it where we declare it itself. So that's since interface don't support constructors, we have to define it in the field declaration itself.
Okay, okay, correct. So let's suppose you have a scenario where you want to create a utility class. Okay,
Okay.
now utility class means there will be no change whatever it's predefined. Let's say if you have some data members that should be the same, like for example, you have a data member as pi,
Okay.
and the pi value will be always constant. No one can change that.
Okay.
But this class can be used, n number of objects can be created of this particular class, but we cannot change any state of it. We can create
Okay.
objects, we can use them, but we
Okay.
cannot change the state of this particular class. So how
Okay.
can we achieve that?
Okay. Okay. If we don't want to change the state of the class, I think I'll make it immutable.
Mhm.
Since we don't want to change the state of the class, by making it immutable, we can't change the state. And since you said it is a utility class, I'll make the utility methods are static, so we don't need to we don't need to create an object of the class, the utility class which we want to create. That's it.
How do you make immutable class? Like, can you give me
Okay.
step?
Yeah, I'll tell you the steps. Okay, first of all, I'll make fields private final.
Mm-hmm.
So private final, and I'll initialize the variables with the help of constructors itself. Since final fields are either declared at field level or in constructor. Second of all, I don't uh, since I only allow getter methods, and in the getter method itself, if the field which we declared is an object type, I'll return every time a clone of it. I'll
Mm-hmm.
not return a direct instance itself, because if it is an object type, there is a chance of client may change the state of that objects, so
Mm-hmm.
it may break the immutability principle. So that's why I'll return the clone of the field.
Okay, that is right. Because the dependency can be changed.
Yes, yes.
So Harsh, let's suppose you have a scenario where you want to
Mm.
fetch data from a database into your
Okay,
application. Now
okay,
the table in the database is basically country. That's the name of the table, and it
okay,
has two fields like country code and country name.
okay.
Okay, and you want to fetch that country code and country name field into your application via collection. So it will be
Mm.
stored in a collection.
Okay.
Now the thing is the country code and country name that are randomly stored in the database.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not any structure is not been followed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it has duplicate, it has random numbers up and down. Now I want to make sure that exactly same data is copied into my
Mm.
um, collection.
Okay.
So which collection will you use here?
Okay, exactly. Okay. We want exact how the rows are stored in the database to be exactly imported as objects in our Java
Yes,
application, right?
yes.
Okay, then I'll use list itself, array list collection, because
No,
array
but
list allows.
it
Yeah.
has two values, country code and country name.
Okay.
There are two
Okay.
columns in the database table.
Okay. 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 So then I'll create an object, a class itself for to represent the row. I'll create a country. I'll make a string. I'll declare a different two fields, one for country code and one for country name. And I'll since we want the fields to be like we want exact data to be in our application. I'll use list itself, list collection itself. I'll fetch the data with the help of JDBC or JPA, and create a list of
So
the rows.
which exactly you will use?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll use that, and
No, which implementation of list?
it's array list implementation. I'll use array list implementation because it guarantees the order. That's it.
Okay, okay. Why not
Mm.
map?
Uh, Map also we can use if map also suits this case, because you said we have only two fields, right? We
Mhm,
can make either one country name or country code as a key, and
mhm,
another value as another column as a value, and map the we can create an instance of map every time we fetch a row.
mhm.
So map is also a good candidate for this scenario.
All right. Okay. So let's say in a hash map, you have a hash map, and
Okay.
in the same scenario where we
Mm.
have country code and country name, you're storing that in a hash map. And
Yeah.
let's say on the row number one, we have a value as 01 India.
Okay.
And in row number two, we have value of 01 and Canada.
Okay.
So when you store this into a hash map with the
Mm.
same key, but the values are different. How will hash map behave in this case? How would the checking happen, and how would it store in the DB in the
Okay.
collection?
Okay. Since we are preferring hashmap as a collection to store the data, what hashmap does is, if we consider country code as a key for our collection, hashmap will replace the 01 India with Canada, since both keys are same.
Hmm.
Since if we consider it as a if we consider country code as a string value, uh, hashmap will see as a new same entry, and it will update the same key and update the entry with new one. So we have only Canada in it in our collection. So India will be removed.
So how does it do that? Like, what is it
Okay,
for?
yeah. Okay. Okay. What it does is, if we add a if I add an entry in our hash map will create a hash code of hash map will use the hash code of the key, and it will check for the bucket where it want to store the bucket, where it want to store the entry. If it found the bucket, if we found the bucket, if and collision occurs here collision occurred because
Hmm.
we have an entry in the bucket already, then hashmap will use the equals method to check
Hmm.
if the both keys are equal or not. If both keys are, in our case, both are equal, so map will update the entry with the new value. If they are not equal, then the entry will be added to the list,
Hmm.
which is used by the hashmap to store the bucket value in bucket values.
And how does it change if you are having, instead of, let's say, string as a value,
Mm.
you're storing object as a value?
Yeah.
So how does the behavior change?
String as a value, object as a key. You mean?
No, no. Right now it is string key and string value, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's say you have string key and
yeah,
object value.
yeah. I think there is no change at all because hashmap will not check for values. It prioritizes key. It will check based on key itself. So I think there is no difference if we replace string with object class for values case.
Okay. Okay. In the same scenario, we are using, let's suppose, set. Okay. So I have a class as country,
Okay,
and I'm creating two object of it.
okay,
I'm creating C1 and C2.
okay,
Okay. And in these two objects, the values are the same. I mean,
okay,
the members are the same. Same,
okay,
let's say India, India in both these cases.
okay,
And now I'm storing this S1, C1 and C2 into the set.
okay.
So will set allow duplicate this time, or will it avoid duplicate?
Okay, since you mentioned that you created a class of country, and you didn't mention that you haven't override the hash code and equals method, set will consider it as a different entries because hash code will return different hash code for both the objects.
Hmm.
It returns a memory location where the two objects were stored, so both will be different always. So set will consider them as same, but different entries. So they will store in set.
And if I want to make sure that it treats them uniquely, then I have to override equals method and hash code. Correct?
Yes. We have to override the hash code in equals method.
Okay. All right. Okay. What is the what? Can you list some of the fail-safe operators
Failsafe operators in set.
in collection in general?
Fail, Failsafe operators in the sense here. Um, fail- list array list is I mean in the sense of iterator itself, right? You are
Mm.
asking. Yeah. Array list is a fail safe, right? Sorry, copy on write array list is a fail safe. It
Mhm.
uses a fail safe iterator, and um, I think concur. Uh, I remember only this copy on write array list, and in
Mhm.
map, I think concurrent hash map uses a fail safe iterator. These
Mhm.
are the two collections I remember so far, which
Okay.
use which are suited.
So can you tell me the mechanism of fail-safe, let's say concurrent hash map?
Yeah, yeah. Concurrent hash map fails. Okay, if we use an iterator to iterate the values, let's say
Mm-hmm.
key values. What failsafe iterator does is, our concurrent hash map does is, it will create another collection, collection. If we modify it will create another iterator behind the scenes. If
Mm-hmm.
we do if we do modification to the current the instance which we operate on,
Mm-hmm.
the modifications will happen on the iterator which is created on backside, and the current iterator won't be affected. So this is how failsafe iterator will work.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's suppose you are implementing a scenario and you are calling a third party service.
Okay.
In your application, let's suppose there is a task that you have to upload a file. This is one task. And this will take time because it depends on internet speed and the volume of the file. So when you upload the file, you need this to be async, okay? Because you don't want that your application should wait for the upload to happen because it might take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or
Okay.
depending on that. So you want that this upload should be async, but eventually what you want to do is you want to whenever it is uploaded, you want to perform certain actions on it, like open the file or save the file in PDF format. Let's say this is some actions that you want to provide, but you don't want to wait for your applications to let the file upload and then you perform these operations. So, is there any feature that we can use for this, especially in Java?
Okay, we can use threads to implement the task behind the scene. What we can do is, we can create a method in our class by creating a class which handles the all file operations,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, we can create a thread to execute the operations in the thread run. uh,
Mm-hmm.
or else we can what we can do is, the class which we want to handle the operations to implement runnable interface,
Mm-hmm.
where we can create a thread easily,
Mm-hmm.
and in the run method we can add the logic which we want to perform. So it will do behind the scenes, so it won't affect the main thread tasks which are done on the main thread.
Okay, but in Java, we have a utility for this already.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I think you are referring about executor service. I think.
Are
Um,
you aware about completable feature?
no, no, no. Not completely aware of it.
Okay,
Um,
all right. So Harsh, in your current company or your current project, have you
yeah.
what was the recent deployment failure?
Deployment failure. Actually, the recent deployment failure which happened was, uh, we have a tool which is developed in our in-house. It will What we do in the deployment is, we also include SQL scripts to alter the data. The deployment failure which happened because of me was, uh, in the SQL script I have forgot to mention the semicolon at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The deployment tool was stuck on the user input. The user input. So the deployment was not happened. This is the failure scenario which I faced in my current project.
So you mean the colon was missing in the application when like
No, no, no. Like for example, what we do is, during our deployment, if we made any, if we created any new columns, we want those columns to be part of the environment which we want to deploy. What we do is, we create a script for that column and new column creation in a .sql file.
okay.
Uh, okay, and if any other if any other insert statements are there also in our current feature implementation, we also include them. Basically, we include all the SQL commands in the file for
Mm-hmm.
the which are needed for the deployment. What I did was, I haven't added semicolon for one SQL statement at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The tool which we use, I'm not sure about the how it works, because it is managed by another team, which
Mm-hmm.
is infra team. We call it infra team in our in our project.
Mm-hmm.
That that I was trying to I was trying to redeploy it again and again. When I escalated the issue to the team,
Mm-hmm.
they said to me that you haven't had this semicolon in your script, and because of this, our tool has stuck for the user input. It think
Mm-hmm.
of it, it think of it as a user want. It thinks that user wants to provide an input. That's why it's stuck in that phase. That's why
Mm-hmm.
deployment doesn't happen. Other than that, I don't know the exact reason behind how deployments were happen in our project, because it is managed entirely by infra team, SRE team, uh, which we don't uh, talk with them, or don't interact with them much.
All right. Okay. So, if you're facing, let's say you talk about SQL. Let's suppose in your application there is a slowness. Okay,
Okay.
and that slowness is basically your is taking a lot of time to process,
Okay.
and that slowness is due to database, because the queries that
Okay.
are running in the database, they
Mhm.
are dealing, they are slow,
Okay.
and even the databases has something to optimize. So, what are the steps you will take to optimize it?
Okay. Sorry to say this. I'm not strong at SQL, because the queries which we use are very large, and it handled by separate team, where
Hmm.
they take care of the optimization and all the things which are which are needed for the query to return faster results. So I'm not sure how to do
But
this.
for the in basic terms, like
Uh,
how do you optimize a query? If you can talk about that.
Optimization. Okay. Mm, uh, I'm not sure about it, because I'm not so good at sequence.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay, no issues. Uh, let's say which do you are you aware about solid principles?
Uh, I heard about it, but I'm not completely sure about solid principles.
Okay, so when you say that you need to have uh, a single responsibility
Yeah,
class, what does
yeah.
that really mean?
Single responsibility means, let's say, one class is responsible uh, to do particular task. Other than that, it doesn't perform other tasks. So let's say, for example, in your previous question which you asked, our job is to perform a file upload and take file from user and upload it to the server. We can handle that responsibility to a class.
Mm-hmm.
To class, the sole purpose of the class is to do this task.
Mm-hmm.
So because of this, we if there is an issue
Mm-hmm.
related to file upload, we can debug the scenario, easily debug what caused it, because the responsibility is handled by the class itself. So
Okay. Okay. And how what are the different ways do how we can inject the dependency in Spring Boot?
yeah, we can there are three ways to inject dependencies in our Spring Boot. One is constructor injection, and one is setter injection, and another is field injection. These
Mhm.
are the three ways we can use.
Can you
uh,
tell me the difference between constructor and auto?
Constructor and auto. Hello, hello, your voice. Hello. Your
Hello.
voice, your voice is your voice was breaking. Okay,
Okay.
now you
Is
I can
my
hear you. Hello.
okay. So can you tell me the difference between when I use dependency through auto wiring
Hmm.
and when I use dependency through constructor?
Yeah, I think there is a major difference, because if I use AutoWord, let's say if we are using AutoWord on field or a
Mm-hmm.
setter injection, um, then there is a chance that if the dependency is not present, it may fail silently. But while for constructor injection, if the fields are final,
Mm-hmm.
then then it will throw an error that be not found as exception.
Okay.
Mm. This is the
Okay.
major. This is the
Uh,
major.
mhm. And uh, also from, let's suppose, what are the different ways I can write queries in SQL? Queries in Spring Boot.
Queries in Spring Boot, right? We can use SQL Hibernate query language or JPQL or native SQL.
What is the difference? Can you give me with an example?
Yeah, okay. In, let's say for example, in JPQL we we use class names instead of table names, and
Hmm.
we use fields which we declared in the class to fetch data.
Hmm.
And while in native SQL we use table names which are, and the fields are replaced by column names. I see this is the major difference in both.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, Harsh, I think that
Mm.
is from my end. We'll give you a quick review.
Okay.
Yeah. So, from my discussion with you, I think you have good understanding of core Java,
Okay.
because I can see that not only just you also answered the follow-up questions,
Mm.
and especially also answered scenario based. Like I gave you most scenarios. How would you react in this scenario? So I think you did
Mm.
pretty good in scenario based, because you were thinking and you were answering according to the scenario. So I
Okay.
think that is a good quality.
Mm.
I would suggest that you have a hands-on in SQL and this part, because I think you need to, like you said, you're not comfortable, but when you're giving interviews for a dev, SQL is, at least the questions that I have asked, like slowness, how do you encounter this? How do you, then we can, it can be asked then during the production, if you feel the slowness, how would you handle that, or
Okay.
what steps we will take? So that is also a very important part you should surely work on.
Okay.
And what I think you're good at, technical delivery communication is also standard, pretty acceptable. So yeah, I think that was the feedback
Okay.
from.
Okay. 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 Like okay. How was my like Spring Boot related skills? Like is it good or I need a improvement?
I think it is decent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we can go ahead. Maybe if you go with the professional, we can also go and check your coding tactics. How do you code? That is also, that can also be checked there. But yeah, for now, the questions that I've asked, based on that, I think yeah, it was good.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for
So
the feedback. Okay.
yeah.
Thanks for the feedback. I'll work on the feedback which you given related to SQL. Okay. Okay.
So how
Okay.
was your experience with this
Yeah.
booking?
Let me tell you frankly. Let me tell you frankly. You heard about interview, right? Interview, right?
Into
Interview.in. Right?
yeah.
I think it's 100 times better than that.
This one
The
or
current this one is 100 times better than that,
okay, okay.
because the main pain point was I haven't heard about your site.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have seen a reel of you
Mm-hmm.
in Instagram, and I thought, I'll give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it is very affordable to me, very much
Okay.
affordable to me compared to interview. And the main thing which I like is you are asking me questions related to service based questions, which is the background which I came from.
Mm-hmm.
But in interview they haven't asked me those questions, because I expected those questions from their side.
Mm-hmm.
uh, they have options for service based mang and early startups related to Zoom. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't. I opted for service based interview, but the interview which they did to me, I didn't like that all. I didn't like that all. I because I think as a Java developer, I expect Spring Boot related questions in my interview,
Mm-hmm.
because we target Spring Boot related roles in while
Mm-hmm.
switching. They haven't touched the topic itself. I used to ask interview, right? Do you ask? Can you ask Spring Boot related questions also to me?
Mm-hmm.
Which they need to improve there at that side. But this interview was much good for me because your questions are new to me. Like it made me to think to answer those questions. Like
Okay.
I like it. I like the platform a lot.
Okay.
This is the
Okay.
feedback which I given.
Thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
what was the like? Can you tap on what was the difference on questions like in the other platform?
Yeah.
Uh, was it
Uh,
not accurate to your field, or is this one more accurate?
uh, uh, they asked Java related questions also, but I think they asked questions like they picked interview. They I think they googled interview questions for Java and
Mm-hmm.
they asked the questions which came on their feed to me, and
Okay.
they didn't ask questions related to scenario. These
Okay.
which are more important. Like if you asked one previously, like what is the difference between abstract class and interface? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving as an example to you.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't asked me those kind of scenario questions, which I think it should be asked to a developer,
Mm-hmm.
developer which is not a fresher, which is
Mm-hmm.
experienced developer, who is an experienced developer. They haven't asked it. They grabbed and they grabbed a question from lead code, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because I solved it because I have done it recently.
Mm-hmm.
I have done it recently, and they asked only one scenario based question, uh, and it also high level in the sense. Generally, most of the people, most maybe maybe many people are not fortunate to work on microservices based projects,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at my current experience level, there may be no chance to uh, see beyond cloud or load balancer like things.
Mm-hmm.
Asked it. They may be expected me to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I think I can't criticize them for that question only. But other than that, they haven't asked anything related to scenarios. They just asked Java 8 related features, and
Okay.
they haven't. Yeah, that's it. I didn't
Okay.
like the interview, and it is very like, and it is not worth the price which I paid. I
So,
mean,
what
that's
is
the
the
main point.
charge there?
They charge a lot. They are charged 1800 for one session.
Oh, for mock interview.
For one mock interview,
Oh,
it's
okay.
1800.
That's
It's very expensive. That's
yeah.
that's why I didn't like it because first of all, the questions you ask is not pretty simple pressure
Mm-hmm.
related question, and second thing you charge high.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
What's the
Correct.
use? At least they have to think at what is the service based, what are the things which we have to ask for the developer who wants to target service based companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct. Correct.
that's why I didn't like it.
Okay. Okay.
Mm,
So I
mm.
think this one, as we are this initiative, we have other interviewers as well who are basically they are the developers who will take interview. So for
Okay.
them, the experience that they have, they can ask based on those scenarios and questions. So yeah,
Mm.
would you recommend this to other your
Yeah,
folks?
yeah, sure, definitely, definitely.